The FX rock crashes are the most unrefined and funky cymbals that Zildjian has ever made. Because they're not lathed or hammered or trimmed into a perfect circle, no two are exactly alike, and that makes them the ultimate personal cymbal to add to your setup. The FX rock crashes are not trimmed into a perfect circle, they're not hammered into shape, and they're not lathed. Obviously, this makes them look really different, but it also majorly affects the sound. Because they're not trimmed into a perfect circle, when you hit the crash, sound is going to exit the cymbal on different sides at different times, and that kind of dissonance creates a really funky sound. Also, because they're not hammered into shape, they have these really unique and different profiles. Each cymbal has a completely wild profile, and the sound has to travel across that to the edge, and that creates even more uniqueness cymbal to cymbal. And finally, because they're not lathed, each cymbal is going to have a different pitch because each cymbal is going to be heavier or lighter. So all in all, you can really start to understand how these are truly the ultimate personal cymbal, because it's actually impossible for any two to sound or look exactly the same. So what else is there to know about the rock crashes? Well, we've mentioned these are not trimmed into a perfect circle, and we do grind out some of the rougher spots, but it is totally normal for these to have kind of a naturally coarse edge to them. Sonically, these cymbals are fairly dry. They open up really easily, they shut down quickly. This makes them really great for kind of a moderate volume environment, especially someplace where you want to be able to hear all the nuance and detail that these cymbals really have. Small bell rock crash tends to be a little more controlled, has less overtones, whereas the large bell rock crash definitely more open, and that larger bell really projects in a different way. These have plenty of stick, so if you want to use it as an alternative ride cymbal, you absolutely can. Visually, each rock crash tells a story of its journey through the foundry. You'll definitely notice on every cymbal there's a lot of swirls of color and splotches, and these happen when the hot blank is moved from the cupping die into the tempering tanks. That kind of quick cool down process creates this sort of individual artwork on every single cymbal. Sometimes you'll also see a little tool mark where the worker had to grab the hot blank and move it into the tempering tank, or you might see some chalk somewhere on it, residue from where they marked where the cup location was going to be. And these are all little details that people generally never see because on a normal cymbal they're lathed away, but here they remain and they're part of the final cymbal, almost like little signatures of all the people who worked on this cymbal. So if you're looking to add a funky crash or alternative ride cymbal to your setup, definitely check out the Rock Crashes. They're full of character and individuality. Each one is completely different from one another, and so they're the ultimate cymbal to add a personal touch to your setup.